I have no idea what this is.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans
But we'll find out.
represent an extremism.
Why not, man? It's the
that
weekend.
threatens the very foundations of our republic.
It's called stochastic terrorism. The term sounds complicated, but the meaning is simple. Stochastic means random, unpredictable, but statistically inevitable. Terrorism here means the use of fear and violence for political gain.
Which is what they've been doing for 10 years now.
It describes a process where leaders, parties, or the press use words, not bullets, to inspire violence.
Yep.
They demonize their opponents, calling them monsters, traitors, or worse. They never say pull the trigger. Instead, they create the environment where someone else eventually
does it
will.
for them. Yep.
That is the essence of stochastic terrorism. The pattern is always the same. 1. Inflammatory language is broadcast into the culture. 2. Plausible deniability shields the speaker. I never told anyone to commit violence. 3. Radicalized.
Yeah, that's what they'll say. They'll say, well, I never actually told somebody to kill anybody. I didn't say go do X. No, they didn't. And that's how they're able to get away with it. That's it. What would you call that? Free speech loopholes? I mean, not really. I mean, it technically falls under free speech, which is what makes this so problematic. And I'm not sure exactly how they go about, putting a stop to it. I don't think they can. I think all that could really happen is just the masses wake up to it and fight back against it. And by fight, I'm talking, I guess, to start with the ballot box. And let's hope that gets squashed right then and there. But I think in the long run, they really need to investigate universities. The government's got to do something with regard to universities and getting all these communist professors out that just keep brainwashing our youth. And the same goes with K through 12. Not all K through 12, of course, maybe not even most, but there's too many that are.
Or unstable individual acts. 4. The cycle repeats, the responsibility is avoided. This is not accidental. This is willful and deliberate. They know exactly what they are doing, and history proves it. Nazi Germany, Joseph Goebbels' propaganda machine labeled Jews as subhuman and vermin. The German people were told these neighbors were a threat to society itself. Violence became inevitable, and millions looked the other way. Rwanda, 1994. The radio station RTLM called the Tutsi minority cockroaches. That language primed the minds of ordinary citizens to carry out one of the fastest...
Oh, man, there was a... Don Cheadle was in a movie about that. Hotel Rwanda, that's what it's called. That movie was amazing. Really good movie. Very horrific.
You see the pattern? The language comes first. The violence follows. Today in America, a domestic terrorism movement grows. Not in the shadows, but in broad daylight.
Yep, on the mainstream
media.
When
the left calls their political opponents Nazis, evil, or enemies of the people, their objective is clear. Dehumanize them, justify their removal, and silence them through fear.
And this is why the whole conversation with national divorce is the dumbest and most psychotic argument ever. And a lot of people on the right are saying that might be the only path forward. We just do a national divorce, which means that this side of the country, they just go left and the other side go right. You can't do that because, first off, Democrats, progressives, leftists, they're not going to just let the nuclear arsenal just fall into the hands of the right. And I have a feeling that after probably years of intense negotiations, the right may concede the majority of them or something like that. All I know is that all that's going to happen is that one side who has the most military power is just going to exterminate the other side and rejoin the country. And now it'll be a communist hellhole from sea to shining sea.
My lifelong question has always been, how could the German people look the other way as the Nazis carried out the final solution?
Many of them probably didn't know.
Now you are seeing the answer in real time, in the sickening spectacle of people cheering the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Well,
the Democrat Party has a responsibility.
That's actually a point. Pretty good point.
The press has a responsibility, and so do the universities, which have poisoned impressionable minds with hatred.
Yeah, I only say that they didn't know because from like regular everyday like townsfolk or whatever, and there was a concentration camp like 2 miles out of town. That's what the townspeople said. Probably not telling the truth. I'm sure that they knew. In fact, I'm sure like a lot of the military, the allies were like, how the hell could you not know that this was happening like 2 miles from your home? Like you absolutely knew. And that's why they dragged those townspeople into those concentration camps and they forced them to clean up the mess and, bury the dead and things like that.
Intolerance and a warped view of history. Together they have manufactured the conditions for violence. They must face that responsibility. They must accept culpability. Because when you light the fuse, you cannot act surprised when the explosion comes. My friends, we are all anonymous, and today we are Charlie Kirk. They fear us not because we are violent, but because we see through their lies.
We have a Timo Hitler
and we are very well
in the White
armed.
House right now.
I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever.
Oh, bullshit. Yeah, okay. Now, this video is a perfect reason why the Second Amendment must be protected. That is the hill to die on. If there's a hill for conservatives to die on, that is the hill. Because if you allow them to take away our guns, it is over. And that is exactly what they're going to do. In the long run, they're going to exterminate anyone and everyone who, first of all, voted for Trump. They're going to purge everybody right off the bat as far as that goes. Anybody who has ever identified as MAGA. Of course, they're going to go through everyone's social media history. You can delete your profiles. You can set it to private. It's not going to make a difference because they'll have control over the federal government and all the intelligence agencies. One way or another, they're going to find something once upon a time where you said something relating to you being a conservative in some way, shape, or form. And then you'll be added to the list. And then you'll be hauled away in, I don't even know what, train cars or whatever the hell. And I know a lot of people are like, nah, come on, that's not possible. Not in America. That's not going to happen here in America. Well, you know, I'm sure a lot of people were saying that back in the day, early 20th century, who were living in certain areas like, oh no, it can't get that bad. I mean, even a lot of Jewish people who were living in Germany during the 1930s, they probably said the same thing. I think there might have even been references to that in Schindler's List. Like the Polish Jews, they were saying, oh, no, that couldn't happen here. No, that's not. No, they can't do that. They can't take away all of our money.